G'day all, Lee from Fry's Garage here. Another little tech tip. This is another little diagnosing one, and it's a basics for you guys. So a lot of you guys have done this 100 times. I'm here just to give the younger ones and the people playing at home a bit of an insight as to how you can look at things yourself and diagnose it properly yourself. All right, so unfortunately this one you will need a scan tool. All right, unfortunately a lot of the the PCMs, TCMs, ECMs, anything you will need to plug into to read live data, you will need a scan tool. Okay, however, in this case we can actually do both. So I have a little Toyota Kluger here, the V6. Is it a 3FE engine series, I reckon? So variable cam timing, great little pokey motor. Now this one developed a miss quite quickly all of a sudden. So I'm in it now. I'm actually got it running and I can feel the misfire and I can smell a little bit of raw fuel. So if we have an engine misfire, what's the main causes? Yep, so we've got, this is a petroleum engine, so we have a spark issue, lack of spark. We have inlet or exhaust valve issues, a compression issue, or we simply don't have fuel getting there. All right, that's the main components basically. So just remember, suck, push, bang, blow. All right, that's how an engine works. That's the 4 cycles. So what I'll do is we'll get the scan tool on. I've actually plugged into the car already to save time. We'll look at the raw data. Now, because this is an 04 Kluger, there's not a lot of great data to read. Like the RPM is really, I can't see single digits. It's either like 600, 650, 700 or something like that. So we have to stick to the basics, which is what I like because it makes you think more. Okay, so a good technician will learn the proper way, not just be handed all this data, made all easy, plug it in and it'll tell you everything. I know that's where we're going, but I don't like it because it doesn't make us any smarter, and we need to understand how it all works. All right, so I'll turn the camera around, we'll have a look, and I reckon this one will be a pretty cruisy one. All right, so I'll turn it around, bear with. Oh, those beautiful legs. All right, so I've got the scan tool here. Let's get it comfortable with it. So we'll just select all the data, and then I think there's only so many we can graph, so I'll choose graphs. Where are we? Because what I want to do is, because it's a V6, we can actually cheat here. If you've got an EFI engine with O2 sensors, we can actually see what the O2 sensor is reading, and that'll give us a bit of an insight as to what the air fuel ratio is. Okay, so what's the air fuel ratio for a petroleum engine standard fuel? What are we looking for? What's 1 stoic? 14.7 approximately. Okay, now all right, so oxygen sensor, bank 1, sensor 2. So sensor 2 is downstream from the catalytic converter, so after the catalytic converter. So after the emissions or the exhaust particles have been catalyzed, the O2 sensor will read obviously the oxygen rate and volume, and that will tell the computer whether it's running rich or lean. Now, what I should probably mention quickly is, look, the majority of the bands of the oxygen sensor will read basically from, where's the graph here? Just want to zoom in here. Okay, so basically from 0.1 volts to 1.2 volts. Okay, generally it's sort of 0.1 to 1 volt range. Now, in the middle is 0.5 volts. Around the middle is where the engine ECM basically wants to see 1 stoic. Okay, so that's the perfect air fuel ratio. When the data or the reading is 0.5 and below, so closer to 0.1 range, we are running lean. Lean means more oxygen than fuel. So what will happen is the oxygen sensor will give that data to the computer, say, hey, richen up those injectors, we're running lean, we can be burning valves and not great. Okay, now from 0.5 up to 1 volt, all right, we're getting richer. Okay, now let's see. So bank 1, sensor 2, bank 2, sensor 2. Oh, this thing just won't zoom in properly. There we go. How do you know which sensor's left side, which sensor's right side? Very, very easy, guys. So the worldwide standard, all right, it's an OEM standard now across the board. Bank 1 is the side of the engine that has cylinder number 1. Very easy to remember, people. All right, so let's think about Holden V8, 253, 308, 304. Number 1 is driver's side. All right, so that would be 1357, and the passenger side will be 2468. Okay, so bank 1 is driver's side. Okay, now this Kluger is east-west. All right, so unfortunately it's on the driver's side, which is the side we don't like. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So what do we see here? What are we looking at here? So I'm seeing, now these sensors should be running the same. All right, we're talking both the aft sensors, so the oxygen sensor behind the left catalytic converter and the sensor behind the right catalytic converter. All right, she's all skew. All right, so we can see that the blue one, which is bank 1 sensor 2, all right, is reading point, well, it's sort of going up and down. It's not great. It should be very, very steady. All right, like the other side, bank 2. All right, so what we'll do is I'm going to cheat here. All right, so we can see that bank 1 sensor 2 is 0.6, so stoit. All right, yep, that's okay. The ECM's trying to balance this engine. This is what's going on here, but you can basically see the difference between bank 2 and bank 1 is nearly 0.2 volts. So basically bank 2 is running way richer, all right, than bank 1. Bank 1 is around the center, 0.5 volts, 1 stoit, so we know that's perfect, but it's trying to balance the motor. Okay, we can see that the other side, the bad side, is running too rich. Why? Something's going on. So look, generally, is it going to be the O2 sensor? No, it's not, because I can feel a misfire. Okay, if it was a dodgy oxygen sensor, the engine be running sort of a little bit sluggish or running lean or rich, but not misfiring. I can feel it in the car. All right, so for some reason, bank 2, which is the side closer to the radiator, east-west drive, we need to work out why. Now, I'm going to do quite an easy trick here. I know you guys can do it. People say don't do it because you'll break things, and I don't care what they say. It's not a problem at all. So what I'll do is the standard test, which is basically disconnecting spark plug leads at the coils. We can do it at the coils, not at the plugs. Lucky the older stuff, the newer stuff is covered. The older girls, well, you have to do it with a bit of a glove and some pliers. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to look at engine RPM. Oh gosh, this is bad. I want to look at engine RPM. So we'll go back. We know about the O2 sensor. Okay, so let's try and find engine RPM, and what we'll do is we will disconnect cylinder at a time. Oh, here we go. Cylinder at a time, and when we see that the RPM does not drop after disconnecting a spark plug lead, what's that telling you guys? We've found our faulty cylinder. All right, now east-west engine, left side is bank 2, close to the radiator. Okay, so the front of the engine is here, the harmonic balancer, flywheel and starter on that side. Simple. Okay, so it goes cylinder 2, cylinder 4, cylinder 6, bank 2. We know this is the problematic one. All right, down there right on my finger is the catalytic converter, right? And you can also see just on the end of my finger there is the you can see the lead there. is the upstream O2 sensor and below is the downstream sensor. Alright, there you go, there's a bit of picture there. Alright, so simple guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect cylinder 2. Now let's hear, you can see the engine shaking, see that? Alright, it's hard for you to see it, I can feel and see it, but the camera doesn't see it much. But anyway, I will disconnect cylinder 2. Now let's watch the RPM and see if it makes any difference. Alright. Well, I can hear the engine change. Alright. That's not good. The engine has changed and it has dropped RPM. Alright. Oh, it's not recording it for some silly reason. Just bear with me. For some reason my scan tool hasn't picked that up. I don't know why. Okay. Back to 650. Disconnect. I can hear the engine drop already and it's misfiring worse. For some reason, there you go, 600. So it's dropped 50 RPM, just like that. Alright, not good. But we know that cylinder's working. Alright, so it is good in the end. Now, cylinder 4, let's disconnect it. So the engine has balance back to 650. Let's disconnect cylinder 4. That's made no difference whatsoever. Nothing at all. Alright, so that's cylinder 2 disconnected, made no difference. No difference at all. I think we found our problem. Now let's check number 6. So I'll disconnect number 6, watching that RPM. Oh, big dip in RPM, look at that guys. Alright, okay, so number 6 is firing well and truly. Let's go back to cylinder number 4. So we'll let the balance, idle balance come back. So 600 to 650, there we go, 650. Now, disconnect number 4 again. Look at that, no difference whatsoever. Alright, so we have an issue with this coil pack or the spark plug. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to swap these around and retest it. And so basically if I put that coil back here, right, change them around, then basically my misfire should go to this cylinder, shouldn't it? Alright, so I'll quickly do that, and we'll go from there. If that does happen, we change the coil and it's not the spark plug or anything else sinister. We'll be back. Alright guys, back. So 650 RPM, I've swapped these around. Okay, so remembering cylinder 4 was the issue, right? So if this coil pack is at fault, only the coil pack, then if we disconnect this plug now, right, we should get a misfire. So let's start off, we know 2 is good, let's disconnect 4. Let's have a look. Alright, engine RPM has dropped. Alright. She's dropped. So there you go, cylinder 4 is now firing. So let's put this back on. RPM has increased. Let's disconnect number 6. Look at that, no RPM change at all. How easy is that guys? Alright. Simple, basic diagnosing. Okay, we had a look at the O2 sensors. Let's go back to the O2 sensors. O2. And I'll just get them back up. O2 sensor bank 1 and bank 2. O2. Alright, look at there. Throttle, we don't want throttle, get rid of the throttle. Oops, oh shit. Oopsie. O2, too many pages guys, O2. Alright, I want to get rid of the throttle because I don't want throttle request. There we go. Okay, so let's have a look again. Engine is running at heat range. All right, so thermostat's open now. The O2 sensors are reading the best they can, and we can see clearly that bank 2 is running much richer, 0.8. Remember, the higher the voltage, the richer. More fuel, less air, okay? From 0.5 down to 0, closer to 0, all right? So the first strip, all right? The closer it gets to 0, you have more air, less fuel, lean condition, all right? So we have what here? Down the bottom, let's say we're at 0.2. We are lean. More oxygen red at the sensor, which means we are running lean. Okay, simple. So we know that this coil pack is not firing that spark plug. So we actually have fuel going into the cylinder, no spark to fire it. Okay, so it's actually raw fuel. So what do you think that oxygen sensor's saying? What do you think this one's saying, the orange one? It's picking up raw fuel because there's not enough oxygen being burnt. So it's a rich condition. Simple. All right, done. I'll ring, get one of them, plug it in, and we'll see what happens. And our base idle, I think, will be a lot higher too. I think it'll be about 700 RPM. I'll be back. We'll get the parts and we'll be back. Okay. New solenoid's in. I've started it. Engine is smoothed out. Look at that. Look at that box there. It's not even moving. All right. 650 RPM. Let's check it. Let's disconnect 2. Let's watch. 2. Engine misfire. Down to the revs. Connect. We have balance. Cylinder 4. Disconnect. Misfire. RPM droop. Cylinder 6. Misfire. RPM droop. It's balancing. It's trying to balance at the moment, so it will drop. Oop, hang on, connected again. So it's spiked up to 750. I think the aircon might have come on actually. But anyway, you can see as soon as I disconnect cylinder 6, yeah, it's not sealing it quick enough, but anyway, it went to 600. I could see it on the other graph. So connect, you can even hear it much better. Alright, simple guys. Look, and it's come back up to 7, and now we'll balance again, and we're going to have a steady RPM. That's where I disconnected it. See that? See those spikes there? That's where it rebalances basically. So anyway, another one done. Cheerio.